Assalamu Alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and hello everyone. Today I want to share about this topic. What does it mean when students continue with their similar lack of engagement in learning after receiving their assessment results? We are now in part 2 on the process of academic failure. For those of you who haven't watched my previous video, please watch this video so that you can have a general view on the overall process of academic failure. Alright, so for part 2, we are continuing from students' reactions to their mid-of-year assessment results, and there's already a video for you to refer to. Please watch this video. From students' reactions, it actually leads to 3 different types of attempts. For the first attempts, there will be 2 videos, part 1 and part 2, for you to have a listen. And for the second attempt, there's also 2 videos for you to refer to. And finally, the third attempt is what we are going to focus on today. And these 3 attempts eventually leads to academic failure. Okay, what does it mean when students continued with similar lack of engagement in learning after receiving their assessment results? So these are what we found out, what we observed from the data. The first one is that these students continued with their ineffective learning methods. And the second one, these students continued having their inhibiting behaviors or attitudes toward learning. For the first one, ineffective learning methods, there are several examples. First, these students did not read lecture notes beforehand. They did last-minute study. They solely focus on memorization. Some students skip lectures. And majority of students did not revise after lectures. Moving on to number 2, inhibiting behaviors or attitudes toward learning. Examples, number 1, found that some students actually ignored and left what were not understood. They did not address poorly understood content, and some students actually were being selective on what to study. Now, I want to share with you some of the excerpts that I've received from my students, alright? So these are the excerpts from interview. The first one is from D. She said that, but when I come here, I started to procrastinate. I will just do the short notes and keep it aside and then go for another thing. But I won't come back and read for that. I will wait for until the last minute to study. From here, we can see that she's actually procrastinated. Although she did writing short notes, but she kept it aside and she only studied during the very last minute. Okay, at the very last moment before the exam. Student 2, F, this is what he said. Oh, actually I cover for the major subjects like anatomy, physiology, and pharmacology. The minor subjects like immunology, respiratory and microbes. So that minor subjects I don't need to read because the questions come a lot from major subjects like anatomy. The questions come a lot from major subjects. So I think I just need to cover the major subjects. The minor subjects, I think I don't need to read because the answer is there. I just need to choose. So here we can see a very clear examples on student perceptions, what they think about subjects, and these students even group this into two, minor and major subjects. So this here we can see his perception on the subjects. Now, what do you think after listening to today's video? If you have any thoughts or questions that you want to share, please share in the comment section below. Otherwise, I'll see you in my next video.